Serantini,
Claudio Miccoli,
Sotiris Petrula.
Right next to Jan, there is Fyodor Filatov. He was stabbed on the 10th of October 2008 by 4 unknown perpetrators while leaving his Muscovite apartment. Highly likely the offenders were Nazis. The 27-year-old Fyodor played a vital role building up anti-fascist and anti-racist structures in the Muscovite skinhead scene. He belonged to the Trojan skins, convinced anti-fascists, which made them the target of fascist threat. Shortly before he was killed, he told friends of feeling under surveillance and spied out. Russia is the country with the most racist and Nazi murders. In 2006, there were 62 Nazi murders counted. In 2007, even 76 murders. Until March 2008, already 49 murders are assumed. This terror aims at migrants, left-wingers, anti-fascists, but is also directed against totally non-political citizens. Finally, January 19, 2009 is the day of the assassinations of the lawyer Stanislav Markelov and the journalist Anastasia Baburova, working for the Novaya Gazeta. Both were anti-fascist, shot on open street. We didn't manage to organize an annunciation for Fyodor. For Anastasia Baburova and Stanislav Markelov, we demonstrated on the 7th of February 2009 in front of the Russian consulate.
Giorgiana Masi,
Giuseppe Palumbo, Grigoris Lambrakis,
Carlos Javier Palomino, the second one from the right. He was a 16-year-old Antifa from Madrid. He also belonged to the left-winged skinheads. On the 11th of November 2007, Carlos wanted to join a demonstration against the deployment of the fascist Democracia Nacional. On his way there, in the subway, a radical right-wing career soldier identified Carlos and his friends as anti-fascists by their buttons. The 26-year-old Nazi unnoticeably pulled out a hunting knife and all of a sudden stabbed Carlos directly into his heart. 3 of Carlos' friends were injured severely. Carlos died shortly after the attack. When the Antifas got the news of Carlos' death, they tried vehemently to stop the deployment of the Nazis. Yet, the police prevented them from doing so with rubber bullets. The press prevaricated and downplayed Carlos' murder. In Germany, the Spiegel blamed the anti-fascist juvenile partially as well. They also increased his age from teenager to young adult. 1 week after the murder, we organized a demonstration in memory of Carlos.
Torino Carnevale, Gaetano Brescia, Walter Rossi.
Right in the middle you can see Davide Cesare, called Dax. Davide lived in Milano and belonged to the milieu of the occupiers of the Orso. Orso means bear in Italian. The Orso is an old building occupied by left-wing skin, punks and football fans. In March 2003, Davide collided with one of the Italian fascists from this district. They screamed at each other. A few nights later, on the 16th of March, this fascist with his sons ambushed Davide. Dax was out for a pizza and a couple of friends on the way to the park when these 3 fascists chased them and stabbed them with knives over and over again. Then they fled. Maybe Dax would have survived the attack if the Carabinieri wouldn't have delayed his transport to the hospital. Right then, the people from the pub and the residents demonstrated severely against the Carabinieri behavior. When Dax's friends came to the hospital of San Paolo di Milano, they were told Dax had died and another friend was undergoing an emergency operation. The outrage and upset due to the behavior of the police was enormous. The police answer to the protest was brutally beating up Dax's friends in and in front of the hospital. The police used baseball bats and chased the people also into the hospital stations, where they tried to hide. Some residents took these shots you are watching right now from their apartments, following the whole scene. Dux died at the age of 26, leaving a daughter behind. On May 7, 2009, two of Dux' friends who had been beaten up in front of the hospital were convicted to 20 months of jail and a fine of 130,000 euros to the police. The policemen were found not guilty.
Emiliano Zapata.
As the name reveals, Renato Biagietti was from Italy as well. He was murdered on the 28th of August 2006 in Fosena, a suburb of Rome. On this particular night, he was leaving disco near the beach together with his girlfriend and a mutual friend. A reggae dance hall had taken place there. Renato loved reggae and was a passionate disc jockey for electronic music. This beach disco has the reputation of being the only place in this predominantly right-wing suburb that left-wingers go to as well. Approaching their car, two young fascists drove by, insulted them, got out of the car and attacked Renato and his friends with knives. Renato died at the age of 26. Until this day, part of the media and institution neglect the Nazi background of this action, even though the murderer had a tattoo on his arm displaying a fascist Celtic cross with the parole, power and honor. Renato's friends prosecute actively the clarification as well as the remembrance process. They commemorate Renato with his alias Renoise. They also established a recording studio carrying his alias Renoise in the social center Acrobax in Rome, supporting newcomer bands. Doing so, they carry on with Renoire's artistic and musical passion, and at the same time they will always remember him, promoting young artists. In our graffiti, we also use Renato's symbol, Renoise. The picture at the edge shows a Russian musician, Timur Kakharava. Nazis stabbed him at the 13th of November 2005 in Moscow. He studied philosophy in St. Petersburg, played in two left-wing bands, took part in politically driven actions, and was an active anti-fascist. This day he took part in an event of the socially engaged group Food Not Bombs. Food Not Bombs distributes food for free to homeless people. Shortly after the event, the group went to a pub close to the plaza. Timo and a friend just went outside of the pub to have a smoke. In this moment, 10 to 12 Nazi skins attacked them with knives. The attackers must have spied them out. His friend, Maxim Skivai, was severely injured. Timo was stabbed 5 times directly in the throat and died directly at the place of the assault. Timo only got 20 years old.
Ernesto Che Guevara. Gennarino Capuzzo.
On the far left, you can see Thomas Schulz. We put him there on purpose, for him to be seen from the street. Thomas, or as he was called Schmuddel, was a punk from our neighboring town Dortmund. He's the oldest of the ones we portrayed here. He was 31 years old when he was cowardly stabbed by a 17-year-old Nazi skin. On the 28th of March 2005, Thomas and his punk friends were on the way to a concert. In the subway station, Kampstraße, they came across the Nazi skin Sven Kalin and his girlfriend on the escalator. They had a verbal exchange. When the Nazi asked them to take him on, it was Thomas only who followed the Nazi and confronted him with his Nazi attitude. What Thomas did not notice, as he was drunk, was that Sven Kalin had already pulled out his 15-centimeter long knife and was hiding it. When the subway came, Kalin did not just turn around and entered the subway to go home. No, he stabbed the knife directly into Thomas' chest up to the hilt. Very pointedly, Thomas' heart was pierced. Thomas left 2 children,